Let's continue, shall we? Yeah, I think we left off. You! Child! Actually, what did you see? Your Grace, where were you when the murders took place? Archduke. Just what are you trying to insinuate? Please, Alark, there's no need for that. To answer your question, I was speaking with Lady Frigga's familiar. Tracker? No. It's the demon who calls himself Maranath. Wrong, Lady Frigga. What? He was actually the one who sent for me. According to him, he had some information that was of great import to me. Did you make a contract with him? Of course not. He gave me the information he had freely. Why? Humans are supposedly always trying to trick humans into making deals with them. Looking back, it must have been a distraction. What a fool I was. I knew he was playing with me, but I knew he was unable to lie. The information he had was too important to ignore. Don't mind me asking, what was the information about? Oh, great. I'm sorry, but I won't reveal what he told me. Be a danger to everyone here. Rest assured it had nothing to do with the massacre. Your Grace, we've only just met. Can't exactly just take your word for it. I suppose that's fair. Believe me when I... That's fair? That's fair. Believe me when I say that I plan to take this information to my grave. That's concerning. That was ominous, but players clearly intend on keeping their conversation a secret. Anyway, civil members of the Kingsguard are watching us. They can verify my alibi. How long did this conversation last? I arrived to speak with him at 1:50 p.m. I didn't leave until 3:10 p.m. Maranath. We're gonna see him again. So he was accounted for during the time frame of the murders. But why would Maranath go through the trouble of distracting her in the first place? Whoever orchestrated this also used to force Kate to trap Aster. So Aster was imprisoned. Distract Kingsguard. You were gone. Royal Advisor. Mysterious Lord. That is very curious. They tried to distract the forces in the cathedral? Or are they trying to keep certain people out of the crossfire? Stealing spell. Your Highness, we heard the prosecutor cast a spell on you when you saw the fire in the common room. Can you tell us more about what happened? I can't believe she attacked a member of the royal family. She was completely irresponsible with her magic. I understand your feelings about this, but we can't say for certain she inflicted mage blight on herself. I don't even know if it was actually her. I saw her with my own eyes. Many other people did too. Wait, where did this happen? I was on the path outside the common room. I saw smoke coming from the building, and I saw Stewen walking away from it. Aura forming? This must have been after she murdered Von Sanctus. I have a feeling I already know the answer, but was she behaving erratically? No, she very deliberately cast a spell on me. Which once again implies that Mage Blight wasn't behind this. You know what spell she cast on you? I'm not sure. I've been affected by a spell like that before. Magical traces on him, we know that it was a transmutation spell. Transmutation spells manipulate and change physical matter. It's scary to think what that might do to a human body. Are you sure he's okay? Lord Asclepius inspected him and he didn't appear to have any lasting injuries. We're hoping the spell's effects were only temporary. Could you describe what you felt while you were affected by it? It might help us identify which spell it was. Well, I was extremely dazed and my ears were ringing. Vision was also partially blurred. It's as if my mind was in some kind of fog. Whenever I tried to speak, I couldn't even form words with my mouth. I could only make grunting sounds. I couldn't walk either, so I had to crawl on the floor. Oh, yikes. Sorry you had to go through that. It's been traumatic. What kind of transmutation spell would do that to him? Concentration. Not you. Not you. Yeah, nothing we have in our compendium. Something that affected his senses. You already told us that she was acting, that she wasn't acting erratically. Is there anything off about her demeanor? Only saw her for a moment. She was definitely different than usual. She was completely emotionless. Yeah, it's exactly what she looked like when I fought her too. She was like an arcane construct. Movements were almost robotic. Wait, are there any arcane constructs on the cathedral grounds? No, not for lack of trying on Lloyd's part. Well, good thing he's dead then. Ayo. High Speaker and I have specifically forbidden the staff here from using them. It would have been really convenient if all this was done using a construct. Anyways, was anyone else around when Steelwind cast the transmutation spell on you? No. She moved away quickly after she incapacitated me. Even if someone was around, I don't think I could have seen them anyways. That's fair. And Dwight also said that he was surprised no one saw the prince till after the spell wore off. What happened to him? Was he disguised as something? There was Alaric's account of what happened, and we even got the Archduke's statement too. There's still one last person we need to speak to. Arya. She and Beatrice supposedly have no memories of what happened. Or only Beatrice saying, but I'd probably doubt it. But if Steelwind also doesn't have any memories, it becomes a lot more credible. She definitely has the missing piece we need to put this together. Are you going to the dungeon to speak with her? I am. Wonderful. I'll be accompanying you. What? As the royal advisor, I have a vested interest in the investigation. While I trust Lucio to leave no stone unturned, I hear you have quite the talent for seeing what the crown cannot. Alright. Why are you showing this runestone to me, knave? It's my attorney's runestone. It proves I'm a certified attorney. I want one. Just like a peasant to fawn over such a mundane piece of artificery.
Repario Arcanum.
Oh, child. Child. We arrived at the dungeon and found the prosecutor walking around her holding cell. While papers with haphazardly scratched notes were scattered around it. Pacing back and forth, head lowered in contemplation as she stared at one of them. She didn't even notice us until I knocked on the bars to her cell. Mr. Cuthbert, and your grace. Steelwind's eyes stayed on the Archduke before returning to us. How are you doing? As best as I can, all things considered. What brings you here? We're trying to investigate everything that happened. I see. I was wondering if you could answer some of our questions. Are you going to answer in front of the Archduke, though? Steelwind, I know your situation is pretty grim right now, but you know you can trust me. I know, but at this moment I don't even know if I can trust myself. What? See, you can trust me. What do you think about... Oh, okay. What happened? You don't have any memories of what happened. Is that true? It is. No matter how much I try, I can't recall anything. It's the last thing you do remember. If I was leaving my meeting with a High Speaker and His Majesty. For the meeting, I was planning to return to the nave to speak with my father. I suddenly felt something churning inside my stomach. I thought some fresh air might help stave off the nausea, so I went to the balcony. The one over Lake Galacron. Yes, that one. Last thing I remember was losing consciousness as I looked at the lake. Did you cast any magic before that happened? No, I didn't. Sure you don't remember anything after that? Don't. I remember waking up to the sound of someone sobbing. Celeste. Seemed that you just regained consciousness, Mr. Cuthbert. Interesting. It's like we've completely ruled out Mage Blight, so I doubt that's why you can't remember anything. Are there any spells that can specifically modify or destroy people's memories? Certainly explain a lot of this. No, arcane spells can only affect the physical world. Throughout history, mages have attempted to develop spells that can affect the mind. There's no recorded history of any of them succeeding. You can't assume that arcane spells are the only type of magic that exists. I think you've observed it already. There are magical creatures in this world that don't use arcane magic. Isn't that right, Mr. Cuthbert? Not sure what you're trying to imply. If I learned that Illumina had any hand in this, Your Grace, I'm not an agent of the theocracy. If what you're saying is true, I wasn't the one who manipulated Steelwind's memories. I suppose you raise a good point. Something affected Steelwind's memories, it wasn't necessarily an arcane spell. It couldn't have been an arcane spell, it was definitely something else. You're probably right. Which proves that I'm responsible for the murders. What? Something wiped if... Arcane spells cause the murders. Therefore, Arya caused the murders. Just that you don't have any memories of what happened. Even if something manipulated Arya's mind and, like, took control of her mind, if arcane spells did it, Arya only knows arcane spells. So, in possession of her faculties or not, Arya believes she's guilty. Why are you so convinced that you're responsible for this? I told the Inquisition already. I saw Beatrice before I passed out. She's clearly involved in this somehow. There's more to this than you realize, Mr. Cuthbert. The past 2 months, the Inquisition and I have been investigating a string of seemingly unrelated murders. During each of those cases, we were able to apprehend the perpetrator without issue. There's always something off about them during the questioning. I think I made the same reference before about the, her equivalent of the Ghost Trick secret prison. Murders were always abnormally gruesome and passionate. Each of the perpetrators said the same thing. All said that they had no choice. No choice? Cases like this have been occurring throughout Wyverngard. Very little connects the perpetrators to each other. Well, except one thing. Each of them had acted as if someone had controlled them against their will. They were probably just desperate. Most murderers try to make excuses after they're caught. And even just be in complete denial. Orm said the same thing, but these cases were far too similar for me to ignore. I wondered if they were telling the truth. Perhaps each of these murders were committed by an unknown party. I didn't have any concrete evidence, but I knew it was getting closer to something. Purple? Steelwind, I don't mean to be rude, but this sounds completely insane. You don't even have any physical evidence to prove these murders were connected. There's one piece of evidence, but it's hardly concrete. But it does tie each of these cases together. She took out a small parchment from her pocket and showed it to me. It's a purple symbol. Several of the people we arrested had an item with this symbol on it. None of them could remember where it came from or even what it was. They all somehow knew that it was called the Purple Mark. Ooh. Have you seen the yellow sign? There has to be an explanation for this. It could just be some esoteric superstition that we don't know about. If that's true, then ask yourself one thing. Where did I get this parchment from? You don't mean... Found it in my pocket after I was properly confined. The symbol must be a calling card of some sort. For all I know, they could have controlled my body and forced me to draw this symbol myself. This massacre at the cathedral is related to it. Eerie. I don't want to dismiss what you said, but this definitely won't hold up in court. Nor should it. My mind has been compromised. I can't take the risk of leaving this dungeon. Otherwise I could end up harming more people. Can't exactly spend the rest of your life in this dungeon. Wait, are you serious? What about Astor? Weren't you two supposed to be married soon? He's the king now, and you can't rule Ravengard alongside him from a holding cell. You're correct, but he's always been a remarkable person. Oh, you should have no problem fighting another Sutras. Arya! No. What? Your plan is terrible, and I hate it. God, my... my fucking favorite part of Final Fantasy X, too, is when Yuna looks up at the male throuple on their plan of self-sacrifice, and Yuna just says, "No, I don't like your plan. It sucks." I'll just avenge you and figure out what really happened. Mr. Cuthbert, I'm not going to risk more lives. I'm going to hurt His Majesty. I would never be able to. Please don't ask that of me. What do you think about this, Miss Steelwind? Okay, fine. Oh, alright. Steelwind's going to throw away everything she cared about. Even if she was the one who did all this, she's not the one who's responsible. Wouldn't let her resign herself to a fate like this. Steelwind, are you seriously going to just throw your life away? If it were necessary, I would give my life for this kingdom. Someone controlled my actions today, they can and will do it again. As long as that possibility exists, I can't trust myself. I think we can deflect. We need to finish what you started. Okay, no. That's not the issue here. Someone else is responsible for what happened. We need to find out who they are. Although, yet, that is still a very important issue. They could still be out there. If that's true that you are fully capable of finding that out yourself. I've said I have no memories of what happened. I'm sure that you'll be able to find out what happened one day. But you'll have already lost everything by then. Yeah. I'm just saying, you'll lose everything if you'll just let this happen. Even if you aren't executed for these charges, you'll spend the rest of your life in prison. If that is what my duty demands, then so be it. I continue living my life if my mind is vulnerable like this. I will not endanger His Majesty. See... See, I skipped this argument because it didn't really seem that convincing, because... Like, yeah, she can just fire back with, we don't know how it works, so we can't say for sure it won't happen again. Assuming this person can continue to do so. You said so yourself. You haven't found any evidence to prove your theory. I don't know how this mind control works. I don't even know what this magic is. I can't just drop this without finding out what really happened. I suppose you're right. Doubt there was any goal to this. Investigating these murders for months. What's behind this is a sadistic individual who wanted to cause as much suffering as possible. Yeah, like, there's a theoretical possibility in mind here where they're just, like, taking out the cores of the Pillar families. Using Arya to get her out of the way. And then weaseling Beatrice back into some degree of power. Like, that literally might be the only reason Beatrice hasn't been fucking resigned to hell yet. There's no way to connect them to this. See, I think it's this. Not true, Steelwind. We did this had very specific targets in mind. Both Prince Alark and the High Speaker saw you when the murders were being committed. You mentioned they set a trap for Asta. What? Assume that someone was controlling you. They wouldn't have left Arceus or Asta alive if they were trying to cause as much suffering as possible. Suppose you have a point there, but even so, that hardly narrows things down. If someone were controlling me, they wouldn't need to enter the cathedral to use me. Perhaps you're right, and the perpetrator only wanted to murder the 3 victims. There's plenty of people who might want to see those 3 dead. I do kind of love how Fierce's Spell Compendium feels cheaper than Von Sanctus's and Sybil's. Well, Beatrice is just chock full because she's so cracked. I don't know. Why could we view this up close? You need to enter the cathedral to commit the murders. There's down who's responsible for this. False. Alright. There's something that said the cathedral was locked down. Alright, I mean, that might be Fiji. Drat. Oh no! be glitch. Interesting. Okay. Oh, were you gonna use the Lift of Contingency spell as the reason as to why they had to be there? That might be where this is going. Can't save during this. How does Lift of Contingency work? Yeah, it's one thing you're overlooking. When the murder started, someone trapped Aster within a force cage using Glyph of Contingency. They didn't harm him, it was probably just a distraction. And so this gives us two very important clues. First, that whoever did this was casting those two spells. Means that the perpetrator was a mage or someone working with one. That's true. Second clue is the most important one. We set that trap for Aster, so within 24 hours of it triggering. Grand Cathedral was closed to the public. This means the perpetrator must have been someone who attended the funeral. So it was one of them. They was down our list of suspects substantially. The chance we can identify who did this. If they really did control your actions, we can find a way to prevent them from doing so again. Steal it. And to fight this. I can't. Why not? Pursue an individual like this, they might retaliate even more than they already have. Trying to remove me from my position, how will they react if I try to resist? Might hurt even more people to send a message. It's far too dangerous. This had a goal far bigger than you, and you have no guarantee they'll stop here. 3 nobles died today, and 2 of them were near the top of the political hierarchy. Why they decide to go after more victims? Who will they target next? Your father? The king? We need to catch them before they do more harm. You're frightened about what might happen to the people close to you, but we can't let someone this dangerous get away with this. But that way, I suppose I have no other choice, do I? Realized before, Mr. Cuthbert. What? You really have a bad habit of butting your nose into other people's business, don't you? Yeah, I suppose I do. But you're right. We can't let this go. Find a way to dispute this, somehow. Thank you, Mr. Cuthbert. We've known each other long enough. You don't need to be so formal. Successfully persuaded, are you, Steelwind? Oh, there we go. I know I agreed to fight this, but what is it? You're the most qualified attorney in the nobility. Definitely be able to make a case for yourself. Probably know how Sybil controls the legislative and judicial branches of our kingdom. Nominated my father as the prosecutor for my trial. What? My theory of mind control is not substantiated by the evidence, and we can't blame another kingdom's magic because of that. Don't believe that I overspent my magic and gave myself mage blight. As a result, they blame House Steelwind for the Minister of Justice's death. Now, the only way for him to redeem House Steelwind is to convict me and sentence me to death. But he's your father! There's no way he would! This isn't the first time something like this has happened. Oh, your mother! The whole bit with Lucio and your mother, you didn't hold him against that, but people very much did. And that was another matter of, as a child, my mother accidentally overused her magic and induced mage blight within herself. Oh no. her resulting psychotic episode, she massacred an entire village of commoners. Scared Lord. Stewart almost lost everything after that. To redeem himself, my father personally oversaw my mother's trial and her execution. That's rough, buddy. Shit. That's what happened? My father values his duty to Rivengard over everything else. It matters more to him to that, not even his family. I'd like to have confidence in myself, but I don't know if I can face him like this. Mr. Cuthbert, what is your stake in all of this? What? You hate the nobility, don't you? So why are you so intent on helping Miss Steelwind? Because she's innocent. What else is there to say? Mr. Cuthbert, it doesn't matter if she's a noble or commoner. She's being oppressed by the politics of our kingdom, like all my other clients. Based? Well said. What? I, be Miss Virgilet, hereby grant you the privilege to serve as Miss Steelwind's counsel. As the Royal Vizier, I'll be acting as the judge and arbiter of Miss Steelwind's— Ooh, shit! Royal Vizier, that's a fucking cool title. It's within my right to grant you such permissions. I'll gladly accept. If Prosecutor Steelwind will have me. Oh, of course. There's no one else I would trust more. There's no one else I would trust more with this. Besides her flustered expression, this is the first genuine smile. And please, you've done a lot for me already. You don't have to be so formal. Oh! Celeste has already taken to calling me by my first name. But since you'll be defending me, you'll probably need this. Ooh, polymorph. Hold creature! Firebolt. Alright. Oh, okay, that's a binding spell. That's not... that's not cuddle creature. That's evocation. Strikes movement of the target. Doesn't move any part of their body. So at some point, it's gonna say where it's gonna be said that she used this on a lark. Steelwind strike. Holy shit. Damn. Polymorph. Oh, that's... Oh. What did you turn Alaric into? Spell magic. It's settled. We'll hold the trial at my home, city of Ladon. Ladon? You go to Lucio. He knows the location well. If I could ask any more questions, the Archduke left without a word. We had a bad habit of just walking away from conversations. Is he? I didn't even know Archdukes existed in Rivengard. It was the first time I've met him as well. I'm just as confused as you are. He's very much been there the whole time. He seems to be well acquainted with my father, though. I guess it doesn't matter, and he had information. Not only was he well acquainted... What, Andy? What are you, buddy? Not only was he well acquainted with Lucio, he's also acquainted with Maranoth. Just like any other judge. I don't believe that. I had no idea what I was in for when I agreed to this. Proceeded next would be unlike any trial that I'd ever defended or prosecuted. I would save Arya's future, no matter what it took. But this is what I'd have to risk to do so. Look at why you asking me to save. Tyrion. Definitely lost. Followed the Grand General's directions to the letter. We're expecting to arrive at some sort of noble estate or convention hall. Then we found ourselves in the ruins of a long-forgotten city. Grass was overgrown. Moss was growing around the ruins. Like no one had lived here for centuries. Double-checked everything. Map even has the giant tree north of here. This can't be the city of Ladon that Virgil mentioned. It sounds like anyone's lived here in centuries. Wait a minute. You gave us the wrong location on purpose. Grand General? Enough gawking. The trial will commence shortly. Wasn't alone behind either. A division of the King's Guard was marching behind him, forming a perimeter around Arya. Difficult to tell if she was their liege or their prisoner. A grey luminous sphere was centered on the prosecutor, following her as they made their way to one of the ruins. The same color as most abjuration spells. Must have been an anti-magic field. So this is where we'll be hosting the trial? Yes. Archduke could never bring himself to stray far from this place for too long. I doubt a normal courtroom would be large enough anyway. What? I agree, Tyrion. King Scott, bring the prisoner to the temple. I will have words with Mr. Cuthbert. Alone. Includes you, McCoy. I'm not leaving you alone with him. Celeste, fine. But I can handle him. Just stay close by. Jaw tightened as she shifted around uneasily. Nevertheless, she stepped aside without any objections. No wonder she's so insubordinate. You keep such a loose leash around her. What do you want, Lucille? The Archduke allowed you to serve as Prosecutor Steelwind's attorney. Why? Guess I earned his trust somehow. Cuthbert, do you remember what I told you after Dracogen's trial? You're going to be my agent. What? A day when I will acquire your skills and abilities. The Eye of Radiance is too powerful a weapon for me to squander. I imagine it will be of great use to me. You will now be acting on my orders. You can't even consider throwing the trial to... I will come at you with everything I have. Use your Eye of Radiance. Use every trick Tamora taught you. No matter who lies before you, cut them down. I will not accept victory without a proper fight from you. So what is this to you? Some kind of deal? Duel? Your daughter's life hangs in the balance, Lucille. Follow my orders, or I'll have you executed. To his credit, his orders seem to be, defend my daughter to the best of your ability. Defend my daughter fiercely. So, yeah. Like, let me read through this again. Now be acting my orders. I'll come at you with everything I have. Use your Eye of Radiance, use every trick Tamora taught you. And who lies before you, cut them down. Yeah, I'll not accept victory without a proper fight from you. All my orders will have you executed. Yeah, like, Tyrion, if you get past your antagonism and just read into what he's saying a little bit, his orders are, defend my daughter to the best of your ability. We still allowing people? Oh, it's the title screen! It's the title screen! The ruins are filled with the nobles who were at the Grand Cathedral that day. This temple was ancient. It was basically falling apart. Moss had grown into every crevice. Insects were crawling everywhere. They even spotted a few rats at some point. It was present looked like they wanted to flee as far from this place as possible, but the King's Guard blocked anyone trying to leave. The Grand General's expression was blank but focused. He was acting like nothing was out of the ordinary. Taking his position at the opposite end of the room. It seems like he truly planned on prosecuting his daughter. Like, yes. Really, he's giving the same energy that Arya did. Put the best case forward, and expect you to do the same. What comes out of it is the truth. And thank you all for coming here today. Can we give him a gavel animation? I appreciate your cooperation with our investigation. Why have you brought us here? This place is disgusting. What is here today must be kept away from prying eyes. But I need to remind you that whatever happens here today must never be discussed. Nevertheless, I welcome you all to my home. Wait, you live here? I do. Your Grace, is this truly what you wish to do? There'll be no going back after this. What? Made many mistakes in my lifetime. I gave Wyvern the means to protect themselves, but grew bitter when seeing what I created. Scales on your armor? Thought my best course of action was to stay in isolation and leave Wyvern fend for itself. I see now what a fool I was. Depended my kin to survive in an unjust world, and foreign powers have ingrained themselves in my kingdom. Because of my negligence. Foreign powers? Why are we on the same page today, Tyrion? You still suspect me of being an agent of the theocracy? Well, no more. It's time that the people of Diamondhenge and their enemies remember who watches over them. It's his hand, magical light gathering in his palm. It began to shake more violently with every moment. It was as if he were commanding an earthquake. Now they couldn't sense either like Celeste and Aster. Even I could feel the massive energy of the room coalescing around him. Well, what's going on? Until the nobles in the gallery screamed out of terror, as some fell to the ground. The spell he was casting was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. Blinding light flooded into the room, made to shield my eyes. As the light faded, I finally saw it. I saw him in his true form. Holy shit! What? Scale Lord, yes. That's me. It's a dragon. God, aye. Ellie broke out into hysteria. Some kneeled in reverence to the ancient dragon. Simply fell to the ground and cowered. Even saw some of them attempt to flee before they were shoved back by the knights guarding the exits. Oh! Now you got it. This may not be a court, but I will have order. Got to tell you. An ancient dragon. Oh, you're the last ancient dragon. That is correct, Heavensborn. I am the first Lord of Diamondhenge and descendant of the ancient god of war. I am Rathdali, Scared Lord. Age 1203. Well, hey there, buddy. Fully misvirtualized, Alias. Alias, I assume when I walk amongst your kind. Until now, only the lords of House Steelwind and the kings of Diamondhenge have known my true identity. I will hide no longer. Will alone will determine how this trial ends. According to these legends, dragons can't die of old age. Presumably, he'd still be alive. Wouldn't be surprised. But everything this kingdom includes him in our constitution. Wait, really? The savior of his kingdom? Our kingdom, he and his kin were given an honorary position in our kingdom. Scaled Lord made Diamondhenge what it is today. He was given authority that befits such a legacy. The only individual with the authority to convict any and all of the nobles here. Make no mistake, Mr. Cuthbert. I will remain impartial regardless of what transpires here. I will not interfere in this trial, nor will I try to manipulate its outcome. Only mediate its proceedings, and pass judgment when necessary. In my youth, I have always had the strength of an ancient dragon. So Maronoth probably know Remus was the fucking Scaled Lord. Well, that's certainly terrifying. Now then, with the introductions out of the way, shall we proceed? Of course, Your Grace. The prosecution is ready. I decide this was like any other trial. Defense is also ready. I'm sure we are all thoroughly aware of why we've gathered here. But for the sake of doing this properly, would you please list the charges, Lucio? Defendant Arya Steelman is charged with several counts of manslaughter. The victims include many knights of the King's Guard who remain unresponsive. Of course, there's Lord Von Sanctus and Corlin Sybil, Congress and the Minister of Justice, respectively. What is this farce? This trial has been over before it began. Lady Steelman clearly overestimated herself. Even a child knows me wary of mage blight. Don't you see? This is Bahamut's judgment. Divine powers that clearly think she is unfit to rule at the king's side. Might I remind the court of my own testimony? I witnessed Beatrice Vega enter the prayer room before I lost consciousness. Isn't it this suspicious that this occurred around 15 minutes before Pierce's death?
Objection!
Oh, you only caught a glimpse of her. You don't know if it was someone else disguised in an illusion. You didn't even speak to her. More reason to call her to the stand to explain herself. She has already testified that she has no memories of what transpired during the massacre. There is no need to drag this out any longer than necessary, Cuthbert. My client has a right to a fair trial. Beatrice's involvement clearly implies some greater plot.
Enough!
Enough. Find Mr. Cuthbert's request to be reasonable. Agree that Lady Frega's actions are quite suspect. Very well. Let the defense have its battle. I only hope for his sake that his blade strikes true. Just imagining Lucio making that pose with his fucking axe, and just a giant slice falls out of his stone podium. Why is everything a combat metaphor to you? Hi, Beatrice. Hi, Maronoth. Beatrice? I'm glad you're safe, Mr. Cuthbert. Not for lack of trying on your part. I have no memories of what I did. If I hurt you, I am truly sorry. She actually looked pretty sincere. It's as if this was the first time she's lied to me. To be honest, I'm still a little doubtful about your memory loss. Not the only one who experienced it. Arya also lost her memories of what happened. And how would you know that? Regardless, if you truly have no memories of what happened, could you testify about what you do remember? Very well. Yeah, whatever she's been wrapped up in now. Ooh. Oh, guide. Whatever she was wrapped up into at the funeral, she was very clearly pensive about. She feels very honestly contrite here. Also, final testimony theme? I dig it. I was with my sisters and my guide, Eris Ilmater, speaking with them in the garden when I suddenly felt ill and lost consciousness. When I woke up, my sisters found me. They said that I had gone missing for over an hour. I was confused. When I later heard what had happened, I realized that someone must have taken control of my body. I have no memories of what happened. From what I understand, the same thing happened to Arya. To make matters worse, there's nothing that indicates who may have controlled our actions. Something off about the way she was testifying. It's actually being a lot less vague than I was expecting. What was she doing? Honesty is very concerning from her. She's been missing since the massacre happened. I really hope she's okay. Oh, make no mistake. She's definitely okay. What makes you so sure? Do you remember anything about what happened to her? No, but it's just a feeling. Beatrice knows that Eris is sus. Enough about that peasant. Tell us about what happened next, Freyka. They were with you. Shouldn't your sisters have noticed this? Going to Life and Miriam, their pet dog, was running amok in the hallways. Left the witness with Ilmater to chase him down. Oh! When the sisters returned to the garden, both Beatrice and Ilmater were gone. Do you remember anything after that? No, I really want to remember, but I can't. You remember something, because you got fucking arist just now. Hi, Rathalion. We don't have Eris in our, And you have no memories of what happened? No, none at all. Can you imagine what I was forced to do while I was unconscious? Forced? What do you mean by that? So you're also saying that someone else controlled your body? Yes, it's the only explanation for why you saw me in the prayer room.
Objection!
Jump scared me. Absolutely ridiculous. You're clearly spinning a fairy tale to absolve yourself. I had no reason to trust her, so why did I feel like something was wrong? Think what you will, but please believe me when I say. Your statement does match up with what happened to my client. But you clearly already knew what happened to her. You'd just be using that knowledge to fabricate an alibi. Mr. Cuthbert, I know it doesn't mean much coming from me, but I am telling the truth. Remains to be seen. Purple mark? Why'd you even bring that up? If we had evidence that someone else was controlling us, it would exonerate both me and Arya. That'd be the best case scenario, wouldn't it? Ugh. What? It's nothing. Brow furrowed and creased in frustration. She's trying to say shit and she's getting arrest, and she's aware that she's getting arrest. The way she was testifying was a little bit strange. That's what Tyrion is picking up on as strange. She immediately concluded that someone had taken control of her, and why was she breaking up what happened with Arya? Let's save. We are in fact in the Temple of the Scaled Lord. Did you find this mark on you?
Objection!
Why would she say something like that? I find the contradiction, but she might as well have dropped it into my hands. Beatrice, you said there's no indication of who orchestrated this. There's one piece of evidence that does just that, albeit loosely. What would that be? This symbol. Not the parchment that Arya gave me, but the purple mark. Is introducing the purple mark in the Scaled Lord's temple a bad idea? Like, does this mark carry some kind of power that will cause us problems? It had the purple mark on it. Oh! Arnath reacted. Arnath, what are you doing? What's wrong? Suppressing our connection. Connection? Can't actually see what you're trying to show me. Arnath, can you stop being petty and just let her see it? Don't take orders from you, Evansborn. I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, what is on that parchment? See, Beatrice, Arya has been investigating a string of murders throughout Wyverngard. These murders appear to be unrelated, despite how gruesome they are. They all share one thing in common. This symbol was found at each and every crime scene.
Objection!
Don't tell me my daughter has roped you into her little conspiracy theory. Your mind control defense would be laughable if it weren't downright insulting. Grand General, during the gap in Arya's memory, someone placed this mark in her pocket. It was clearly some sort of taunt by whoever orchestrated this. Nonsense. She clearly drew that symbol herself during her psychotic episode. If I'd listened to her go on about her insane theory, I was obsessed with it. Mr. Cuthbert, aren't you curious about what just happened? What are you talking about? Think about it. Why? My apologies, I don't know why I said that. Ugh. Happened again. Frustration was rising with each word she said. Is everything okay? Yes, I'm perfectly fine. Anyways, it looks like you'll have to figure out the rest on your own. Figure out the rest on my own? Your Grace, these two are making a mockery of us by spouting these insane theories. But clearly has no case. End this at once. Considering what I know, I'd like to indulge this theory. Let's finally give me a chance for once. That was the first. Beatrice has been acting strangely since the trial began. I was suspicious, but not in the way that seemed to implicate her. Almost like I was intentionally trying to bring something to my attention. I decided to pull on this thread a little. She just asked me if I was curious about what just happened, but every time I asked her to elaborate, she said nothing. Maybe she was trying to draw my attention to it. It had to be significant in some way. Marnoth hid the purple mark from Beatrice. Marnoth, he didn't allow Beatrice to see the purple mark. He'd only do that if Beatrice would recognize it normally. Marnoth is her familiar, and he used to follow her orders. Things have clearly changed now that she belongs to the Empress of Discord. So why would a demon like Marnoth interfere like this?
What if...
Mark is related to a demon? Mark must be related to a demon somehow. An explanation as to why he would prevent her from seeing the mark. Why he had been investigating murders throughout Wyverngar. Did that mean that her investigation also had something to do with a demon with the power to control minds? Arya suspected that each of the murderers in those cases was acting against their will. In this case, both Arya and Beatrice were also claiming they were controlled. That would explain what happened to Arya and these other individuals. You know why Beatrice might not have full control of her actions. Blood contract. I recalled was written on Beatrice's contract during her trial. Think about what happened if she failed to claim House Freyga. Her soul, her mind, and her life would all be claimed by the Empress of Discord. This Empress of Discord owned Beatrice's mind. That mean they could also control Beatrice against her will? If that were true.
What if...
What did Arya... Someone made Arya sign a blood contract? That couldn't be right, could it? Why would Arya do that? It's the conclusion that made the most sense. I didn't think of any other way someone could control her against her will. There was one way to find out for certain. Fine edict. The same ability I used against Beatrice during her trial. I didn't fully comprehend it at the time. Now I had some understanding of how it worked. Created a copy of the blood contract between a contract holder and the demon who created it. For it to work, I needed to know the name of the contract holder and the name of the demon who drafted it. Right now, it's relying on speculation. But going off what I knew, the demon who made the contract must be... Why is this in here? What? Why would I even... As far as I knew, Eugene the monkey was not a demon. It's a far more reasonable guess. So-called Empress of Discord. It was mentioned in Beatrice's blood contract, but I still had no idea who or what she was. However, she was mentioned in a blood contract created by Marnoth. Was Marnoth her subordinate in some way? That explained why Marnoth didn't want Beatrice to identify the purple mark. I wasn't sure if a pseudonym was enough, but it was the closest I could get with what I knew so far. Been awfully quiet for a while, Mr. Cuthbert. Probably imagining new ways to futilely stall for time. I finally figured out why the witness and the defendant can't remember anything. It would also explain why they didn't have control of their actions.
Objection!
Again with this. You're so convinced of my daughter's conspiracy, why don't you prove it? I knew it. But you don't believe in the nonsense you're spouting. Lord Steelwind, I want to be wrong about this. I'm right. Implications don't bode well for anyone involved. If telling you, I think it would be better to show you. Because of discord, wherever you may hide. It's about time. Oh. Beatrice was trying to lead us into doing this. Eye of Horus, I issue you a divine edict. Release thy guards and manifest your blood contract with Arya Steelwind. Only one page. In addition to this contract, the person who handed this contract to Arya Steelwind will be referred to as the patron. By signing this contract, Arya Steelwind surrenders her mind, body, and soul to the patron. This contract will bind Arya Steelwind to the patron so long as they both live. As they both live. Large empty space at the top half of the page. Oh, shit. That means that somewhere in the course of the funeral and preparations and stuff, Arya got baited like fucking Roger Rittens in Spirit of Justice, didn't Trucy? No, this can't be true. This is... Enough of prattling amongst yourselves.
Objection!
No, this is a sham. This wretch has used magic to create a convincing fabrication. It's genuine, Lucio. I can sense it. Possible to falsify something like this. You can't deny the truth anymore, Grand General. There is a way to control someone else's actions. Arya Steelwind wasn't affected by Mage Blight. It was controlled against her will, and her memories were overwritten. And this is just testimony 1. Alright, let's read this out here. Their upcoming wedding. Very sus of Theon Arceus. This would mean that Steelwind would have had to fucking sign something. What could Steelwind have signed recently to be, There's no doubt that Arya did sign a blood contract, but it still doesn't make sense. I agree. Even if Arya was the type of person to make a deal with a demon, there isn't a single part of this contract that benefits her. Why would she sign this contract? Patron helped the patron to...
What if...
Arya signed the contract with the back in one document. It's a large empty space just above the terms of your daughter's contract. Issue a divine edict that creates a copy of the blood contract that I called for. I think when she was given this contract, it probably looked like something entirely different. Something else was written in this empty space to make it look like a normal legal document. Means my client was not in control of her actions that day.
Objection!
Enough of this, all of you. Do you see now, Grand General? Your daughter was not responsible for what happened. That remains to be proven. What are you talking about? He has a blood contract that relinquishes control of her free will. Not having control and not being responsible are two very different things, Cuthbert. What? Admit the defense may not have. The defendant may not have had control of her actions when she murdered the victims. However, she did have full control of herself when she signed this contract. Alright, so we're gonna interrogate that next. Good, we need to. Are you serious? No one in their right mind would willingly sign a contract like this. What of Beatrice Freyga? Was she in her right mind when she made a contract with the demon Maranath? Her fucking contract was like 97 pages, dude. I can't hold the defendant responsible. Surely we should also acquit Lady Freyga for the murder of her father. That's hardly the same thing. I, for one, fail to see the difference. A fool made a deal with a demon. As a result, several esteemed members of the nobility were killed. She's your daughter, Lucio. How does that change anything? Seriously doesn't care if he convicts Arya. What kind of father is he? Like... There's just one part of the game's writing that's actually starting to get me a little scuffed. Although, I can chalk it up to Tyrion just being very narrow-focused. And like, Tyrion has very much had it out for Lucio and his parenting pretty much ever since he met him. And like, yeah, we have clear evidence to show that Lucio doesn't have a choice in this matter, and he very much ordered us to just fucking go ham. Honestly, this only places more responsibility on her for what happened. Could have accepted if she had been reckless and accidentally produced mate's blood. Signed a contract with a demon. It only further espouses the need to put her down. Oh, Jesus Christ. This clearly tricked Lucio. Is that so? She's an attorney just like you. Would you really sign a contract without carefully inspecting it? Whether it was through foolishness, negligence, or both, Bennett willingly signed a blood contract, compromised herself, and as a result, 3 people died and many more were incapacitated. Responsibility falls squarely on her. Wait. What if she willingly signed that contract that wasn't entirely true?
What if...
Patron? Lucio, there's clearly someone else to blame for Arya's actions that day. Oh? And who would that be? I have to reread my client's blood contract to the court. By signing this contract, Arya steals and surrenders her mind, body, and soul to the patron. That can only mean one thing. Whoever this patron is, they took control of my client and used her to murder the victims. That's right. You can still be out there. None of us is safe until this patron is apprehended. Hey, the gallery's on my side. Good job, nobles. Surely we can't end this trial while every member of the Wyvern Guard nobility is in danger. This could also be using a Ruby trick. It's good, honestly, though. I'm compelled to agree with Mr. Cuthbert. Trickery or not, it's clear someone wished ill intent. But we know who this patron is. You can't pass judgment on my client. Like, very much their souls are bound together now, so... Sure. Well played by Tyrion, pass it off. Ruby, Arya, may well be fully responsible for getting herself into this mess, but the Patreon? The Patreon? The patron also needs to be held responsible. Until we know the circumstances under which she signed the blood contract. Would you have us do, Cuthbert? The contract has no stipulations about proximity or how this mind control works. For all we know, this patron could have murdered the victims all while sitting in their very home. There was a clear intent behind this attack. Even if the patron didn't directly participate in the murders, they definitely had a motive. If Arya was being controlled, we can analyze her behavior to determine who was controlling her. See. Despite the questions raised, we've clearly made some headway. I believe we should take a brief recess to process these revelations. Very well. Yes, please. God dang. Stepped outside the Scaled Lord's lair to get some fresh air. A few stretches and some breathing exercises. I could take my mind off of what had been revealed. Celeste silently sat on a rock near the ruins, her eyes looking down. I've been a close friend of hers over the past few months, probably taking this harder than anyone. Arya, I'm so sorry. Don't be. I She couldn't find the words. She just sighed and sat down next to Celeste. I'd always been stoic, but it was clear even she had her breaking point. You can imagine what you're feeling right now. It's not as hopeless as it looks. We can find out who did this to you. We can still save you. Remember if you've signed anything recently? No, I don't. Damn it all. Knew it could have been any of the documents she signed while she was doing her job. Call Aster. I still don't understand. Never be that careless. Right. Just I hate to admit it, Lucia was right. An attorney like me, we always carefully look over contracts before we sign them. The patron can control your memories, too. For all we know, they could have used any number of tactics to coerce you into signing that contract. I suppose that's possible. Arya. As we were deliberating amongst ourselves, the Grand General approached us alone. What are you doing here? Father. No joy. No joy from you? When they glared at Arya silently before walking away. Can't believe him. His actions said otherwise, but I could have sworn I saw something through the eye. Sadness, too. Well, no matter what he felt internally, he made it clear he wouldn't relent. He was my enemy. Whatever his motivations are, I'd overcome him, just like anyone else. We should also head back, Celeste. Right. Call us now for soon. Jump down and pick up where we carried off. Alright. We'll do that next time. Thank you, Mr. Dragon Judge. I enjoy you just outright roaring at me. Oh, this is good so far already. We've got a blood contract reveal. Testimony 1. Yeah, it's gonna come down to you.